Hello everyone. Um, Due to a little bit of demand, wondering what my settings were in this video on my channel. This comment here. Let me know, blah blah blah. Yes, do a tutorial. Okay, a tutorial I will do. A little bit lazy, production value wise, but so what you're gonna do is first you're going to go to my video here and click these links. I'm going to do that right now and open them up. Alright, so we have here the Horizon Shades mod, as the video is titled. Although don't be fooled by the video title. The the heaviest lifters for the graphics here are going to be the Content Manager and Soul, but primarily Content Manager, because Content Manager has something in it called, I'm going to open my Content Manager here, Custom Shaders Patch. So, okay, thanks Steam. Cancel. Okay. Oh yeah, right, I forgot. Assetto Corsa is a Steam game. Oops. Okay. So when you download Content Manager, Google, well actually first in Content Manager, click Custom Shaders Patch. The tab will be here, even if you don't have it, by going to Settings, on this top bracket here, and then Custom Shaders. It should say something along the lines of install now or something like that. But the problem is when I did that, it didn't work correctly from what I remember. So what I did was I Googled it. And here you go, acstuff.ru custom shaders patch from the same mod creator as Content Manager, I believe. And you can go with the latest version, and that will add a lot of effects, as you can see in these screenshots. The smoke, the grass, the reflective lighting, the extra dynamic lighting features, which is probably by far the most important thing that you need to make the game look pretty. And it has cube maps. You can't really tell unless you know everything comes together correctly, because Assetto Corsa already has dynamic lighting and reflections, but this mod puts a far more advanced version of those features. Cube mapping is much better. He calls it, I think, let me see, extra effects. This is your best friend here, extra effects. But he calls it light bounce. But what that is pretty much ray tracing, as you can see in this picture here. I think that's what he's showcasing, as well as this one. The light from the sun is bouncing up into the shadow, and you're gonna get a much more realistic look to the game with that. Like is here as well. You'll see next to the car, the spotlight is hitting the floor and bouncing onto the car, aka ray tracing. Maybe a more simple version of it, but you know, none of us are, well, maybe I shouldn't say none of us, but most of us aren't that picky. We'll take what we can get. Yeah, and then it adds a lot of headlight features, makes night racing look wonderful. On and on and on. So yeah, download, install. But you have to do this after installing Content Manager. So first you're going to go with Content Manager, install it. Let me see if there's anything that you would need help with, because I'm pretty sure it's just really easy. I did it a while ago. The whole purpose of this video is mostly going to be settings, but I don't know, let me know if you run into issues installing it. But it should be easy. So you install it and you're going to get this wonderful thing, Content Manager. Here, let me remove magnifying glass. It's kind of probably annoying. So yeah, these extra settings, all these wonderful settings here come with Custom Shaders patch after you install Content Manager. Custom Shaders patch. And then, you know, the Content Manager itself is beautiful and wonderful. This is online racing. I'm going to go to single player. But it funnels all your racing needs in a very compact user interface. So you don't have to open the game and do this and that to get the race up and running. I can literally open Content Manager and click go, and that's it. And when it comes to changing things, it's very intuitive. Temperatures, weather. This would be the Sol modification. The reason you'd want this, obviously, is a very wide variety of weather. If you're into that, which I am. I mean, really, it just adds a lot of variety to each, you know, get infinite different races with different tracks. So you can do the weather, the temperature, the wind speed, the direction of the wind. I mean, that's a little probably not going to touch that, but the grippiness of the rubber on the track, you know, tire blankets, you know, everything, all this stuff. It still has the career mode. It has everything that Assetto Corsa has, just in a totally different user interface. A much better user interface. Live is built-in mods that you would have to install otherwise. But it comes built into Content Manager because it's a beautiful mod. But SRS is going to be your friend if you like competitive league racing. They're kind of like you know, a small team, modding team that is a competitor of like iRacing type of games. Well, I guess iRacing is the only iRacing type of game, but if you need your fix without paying that monthly subscription, you can do these scheduled races with SRS under the Live tab. It's awesome. So you'll just essentially look at the hours that you have to practice for this, and you click here, and you can open up all the information, and then you would pretty much just copy that into your single player and practice it. It should tell, I don't see where it says weather type. I don't know. I don't remember if it does that, but I think SRS kind of uses generic weather, if I remember correctly. Like a generic daytime weather. But yeah, you can load up the track and car and practice, and then register. Or, you know, register and practice. You get the picture. And you get your own little rating. I play iRacing more. Oh wow, look at that. 2 top 3s, 0 wins. I'm crap. And then RSR is a hot lapping modification. And again, both of these come with Content Manager. You don't have to install them, they're already there. Lap times, blah blah blah. Cool stuff. Everything's really easy to use when you get used to it. Oh, and another thing I forgot to show you guys. When you're selecting your car, you have these little tabs here. And oh, here's one of the best parts about Content Manager. When you go to this tab, Manage Setups, the setup market is already installed in Content Manager. Another mod that you don't have to install. Click it, And bam, you have all these setups for each car in the game. I mean, varying amounts of setups because different cars are more popular than others, but you get the picture. You can install a much better setup without having to do all the endless research of how cars work and then how that exact sim likes those different effects and blah blah blah. Just install a setup. So yeah. So okay, this time marker right here, I'm going to have skipped ahead in the video or directed you to this time to look at the custom shaders patch settings, which is the most important thing when it comes to having the graphics look good. So here we're going to start from the top. About and updates. This depends on your latest version. You're going to want the latest version here. You can click check for updates right here. Cars and configs. Okay, so these things here, cars config, textures, VAO, track config, all this, you're going to want to just hit, these 3 dots right here. Let me zoom in a little bit on it. Click these and then install. It'll say all the entries that you're missing. And you're going to want to do that to each one of these tabs until all of this says yes. You can see I haven't played for a while because I've been playing iRacing, but yes. These are the configurations for the lighting patches that you're going to want installed. So make sure they all say yes. And this mod is so amazing that it even has configurations for modded tracks a lot of the times. So if you download a modded track, be sure to do this again and get that configuration. Oh, and quick side note about the built-in SRS mod. You can get the tracks fairly quickly by going to content. Content missing. I think it was. You know what? Downloads required? I think if you click downloads required, it'll bring you up and yeah, here you go. So all of these are listed out. These are like highly rated mods. If you want Assetto Corsa to be your hub of sim racing, you can have almost every damn popular track that exists by just downloading these. These are really good mods. And the same with the cars. All of them are really good. SRS only uses high quality mods. So have fun with that. But after you download those, run these patches and make sure that the lighting applies to the modded tracks. So next, general patch settings. Alright, now there's a lot of settings, so it's going to take hours to go through each one. But I'm just going to I'm going to full screen this, and I'm going to show you my settings, and you can pause on each one if you want. If you have questions for a particular setting, just ask. I will tell you the important settings if I see them. But a lot of them is just you're going to want these checked. And that's about it. You don't have to ask why. Brake disc effects. A lot of these settings will say exactly what they do. Right here. So I don't have to explain them. But I'm going to go ahead on each tab and give you a second to look at them. Chaser camera is a little bit useless if you're going to be using cockpit camera. I don't even know why I have that on. Chat shortcuts, kind of like iRacing, where you just hit, a message and it sends the online chat. Extra effects. Okay, I have to go over this one because it's probably the most important one. But you need a strong computer to use these. If you don't, you can maybe get away with using the motion blur, which it looks better than the in-game motion blur. You might be able to use, I don't know, a really light version of ambient occlusion. But to have all these cranked, you definitely need a strong computer. But these are my settings. Now I play in, I was playing in VR, so I think I changed a couple of them to fit. For example, the anti-aliasing, I have a different setting for my VR, but in here you can just activate this temporal and AA, and it'll work perfectly fine. There will be no jaggies at all. Yeah, the motion blur looks great. It looks perfectly fine on simple low. If you want to save FPS, you can crank that if you'd like. The AA settings and I pretty much just cranked the fuck out of everything. And yeah, so just to be clear, AA is extra shading and cracks and crevices that, you know, dynamic light doesn't reach. Local reflections is kind of the in-game reflection system, just standard reflections. If you want to change the quality of beyond what the game offers. And then you have light bounce, which is, like I was telling you earlier, like ray tracing. Dynamic light entering a shadowed area and bouncing around a little bit to give that a really realistic spread of lighting. And extra lighting like sparks. You'll see the light from the sparks bounce on the track. Looks awesome. Alright, fake shadows. This just adds a little fake shadow into the car. You can pause on that. Force feedback tweaks, 100% subjective. For your camera, subjective. Graphics adjustment. Again, I was playing in VR, but these are my settings if you want to use them. Grass effects. I have it on very low to save FPS because, again, VR, but you can crank that up to have a nice lush grassy field. GUI, I mean, it's for the applications on the right side when you're playing. Lighting effects. This is, I think, the intensity of the dynamic lighting, not the sun, but like headlights, track lights, you know, etc. Sparks, whatnot. This will change that. These are my settings for that. Neck FX. It's a good alternative to the Assetto Corsa Horizon lock. I haven't exactly got the settings perfect, but you know, they look similar to what they look like in the video that you saw. So these are my settings if you want to copy them. AI behavior, I think it worked fine. It was good as far as I could tell, so you can copy this if you want. New loading screen. These look awesome, but it's subjective. Nice screenshots if you want to take screenshots. Particle effects, one of the most important things. You can copy my setting. Reflection. This is for interiors, I think. So you can copy that. Shadowed wheel. Does exactly what it says. Smart mirror. This one is a really good one, especially if you're playing in VR, because the Assetto Corsa mirrors are not dynamic at all in VR. They just look like they're taped on when you're looking at them in the 3D world. But in Smart Mirror, it will move with your head, just like a real mirror. The reflection, I mean. And it also even has this amazing setting, which I'm not seeing right now. Where is it? I thought there was a setting called Alright, I'm losing my mind. Stereo reflections. There it is. Stereo reflections. What it means is 3D mirror reflections. So when you're playing in VR and you look in the mirror, it's 3D, like a real car. But costs a few FPS, which I shaved off for VR. But if you have a powerful computer, this is definitely cool looking. Smart shadows. It's just a revamp of the shadowing in the game. Copy my settings. Copy my settings. Track adjustments. More extra little things that the guy added. He's a wonderful modder. Thought of so many random shit things. Sorry, excuse my language. Yeah. Just little details. Tire effects. Wear and tear on the tire becomes visible for you. Weather. If you want cool looking skies with soul and you know, different types of atmospheric lighting. Windscreen, it's a little adjustment to the shadows that go over the screen. And this setting I would recommend leaving it on, but I was encountering a bug with it that wasn't allowing me to use my mouse in VR. So if that happens to you, then just uncheck this and you're good to go. And that is the most important thing for having the game look good. So after that, you're going to want to install Soul to get those different weather effects. But you have to change the weather to get the effect of Soul. But if you want the varying clouds and, you know, whatever Soul offers, it's a very realism-based weather system. I used it in the video that you guys requested help with. You know, it's a lot. The reason it looks so good is because the lighting isn't just cookie cutter blasting the sun onto the car to have, like, you know, a contrasty look or something like that. They do many different things that make you feel, you know, the humidity or visually or the temperature. All of that is very realistic. They don't go for any kind of like oversaturation or anything like that, you know. So yeah, Soul, download that, custom shaders patch, content manager, and then last but not least, the newest version of Horizon Shades, sorry. And a cool thing about his shader now is that he doesn't even require reshade anymore. Which, by the way, secret, I didn't even use reshade in my video because I hate reshade. Well, I don't hate it, but it's very gimmicky. So I played the video without that. And you get this kind of natural look that you see here.
The Captain Clark.
Oh, didn't mean to do that. Okay. So he should have install instructions somewhere, I think. But pretty much what you're going to do is you're just going to go ahead and... Where did he put the instructions? He had them somewhere. Oh, goodness gracious. Now I have to remember how I installed it. I'm sure that he has them somewhere, and he's probably screaming at me saying, "Where is it?" But I don't see it, man. Oh, maybe it's in here. A lot of dead space here, sorry. I remember when I downloaded it, I had to find... I can just kind of guide you a little bit by going to... oh man. I think it was temporary data? Temporary... Sorry, app data. So yeah, app data, and then local. And that is where you'll find somewhere. Where is it? Should find content managers somewhere. I think maybe it's under Assetto Corsa. AC tools, content manager. Ugh. Yeah. And then you would put presets. Somewhere in here. Custom shader patch resets, horizon shades. There you go. Okay. Sorry that took so long. You're probably like, fuck, man. You probably already clicked away. But any file for horizon shades, you would put it here. And then you would, I think, install the rest in the actual Assetto Corsa game. So wherever you have that located. And when you run the game, you would go to the settings of Assetto Corsa and pick the filter. It's just a post-processing filter. And hit apply. And then you would have it. So yeah, again, these are all my settings that are the most important part of the graphics. Think of the post-processing filter as like a cherry on top. Like, you need a good foundation, and you have to use Content Manager for that. You need all those extra graphic settings first, and then you can put that cherry on top after. Okay, that was a long-winded video, but I didn't want to leave you guys hanging forever before I forgot about you. Have a wonderful day.